Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm really excited to introduce our speaker tonight. It's my dad, Tom Wolfe. He is going to be talking to us about the dirt and the clouds and what that means and all the space in between and how to run a successful business with the right mindset. And I have to tell you guys, he gave me a pep talk last week with all this, and it was exactly what I needed to hear. So I'm really excited for him to be sharing this with us. He's one of the most motivating and inspiring people that I know, and I'm really lucky and blessed to call him my dad. So I'm really excited for us to hear from him today, and I'm also going to mute my line, and I'm just going to pass it right on to you.
All right, guys, that's a lot of pressure. Thanks for the intro. I hope I can be inspiring, and I hope that I can give the message that's in my heart, and hopefully you can feel it and it does you some good. So, all right, I'll get started here, see if I can share my screen here. And all right, what do you got?
Success strategies.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay.
It's perfect.
So my topic tonight comes from a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk is a multimillionaire, made it huge originally in a family wine business. Really unique, interesting guy. I think Russian descent. And he was a horrible student in school, an F student, but he was an entrepreneur at age 8. I think he was going to trade shows for baseball cards every weekend, making about $3,000 a weekend, trading, selling baseball cards. So he knew how to hustle and he knew how to work hard. He converted their wine business from about a $3 million business to something like a $500 million business or something like that. He retired, or at least left the family business, and went into his own business with his brother, started with consulting. The way he built his wine business is through social media. And so he is sort of a social media guru. And he stays on top of the trends and uses all different platforms in order to get his message out. And he always says to provide more content than you ever expect to receive from anyone. So he's out there cranking out content all the time. All right, so we're going to talk about clouds and dirt. Clouds and dirt. I listened to one of his audiobooks. It's the book that I listened to is called Ask Gary V. And it's a book that we're using in a Beachbody men's training group. We are going to attend an event in Dallas in May, mid-May. And Gary Vaynerchuk is going to be one of the speakers. So we're studying his book and talking about it in a Facebook group. And we're talking about really rock star male coaches that are in this group. And so I'm getting really good information from them. Dave Ward, who's a founding coach, and Jimmy Hayes Nelson are the two coaches that put together this men's training. This is their second one. I went to the first one last year, and this one is going to be through the roof. Mostly because he has more leadership, more coaches involved to help us. And those coaches are posting in our Facebook group right now and helping us. All right. So that's the background. Now from the Ask Gary V book, chapter 1 is called Clouds and Dirt. And the concept that he uses is slightly different than my concept of clouds and dirt. But when he started talking about it, it hit me how to apply this in the Beachbody business. Let's see here. Let's start with clouds. So clouds are our dreams, our goals, and our passion. I guess if we have a sense of mission, then we could include that. And I would say that we should always have our goals written down someplace where we can see them. When I had a goal to become a diamond coach, I printed out the genealogy of how to get to diamond, and I taped it to the mirror in the bathroom. And so then as I was getting my coaches and placing them, I did a little bit of a countdown until I got there. And so, and for me, it was a short-term goal, I think 5 weeks or something like that. But we should have long-term goals too. And our long-term goals need to be around. So you need short and long-term goals. Write them down and have them out in front of you. I think kind of we've talked about this kind of things before. So it's not exactly a new concept. Passion. So my passion for the Beachbody business was generated when I went from completely unhealthy and hopeless to having sort of a new life in my 50s. And the feeling of hopeless is a rough place to be, but so many people are there. When you're hopeless, chances are people have tried things before and it didn't work and you kind of give up. So going from there to healthy started my passion. And along the way, I was able to help Kirsty's husband, Jeff, lose 85 pounds. And the weight is really symbolic of how it changed his life, the way he lives his life, his attitude, his mindset, and everything about who he is and who their family are. And so I carry my passion with me everywhere I go. Let's see here. So I want you to picture a scenario with me for just a minute. Picture that we are in the middle of a battle. We're on a battlefield and the enemy is close by and you can see gunfire coming overhead. You can hear machine guns. There's missiles being launched and landing near us and hand grenades being thrown, and it's sheer chaos. And on the front line is the infantry, and they're dug in their foxholes, right? So the enemy starts advancing, and the battle gets much worse. And it's time to retreat. And you've got a buddy in a foxhole, and he's freaked out, and he's covering his head, and he's tucked in. And from a distance, you yell at him. You say, "Hey, Bob, let's go. Let's get out of here." There's a slight chance he's going to get up and go. But since he's all curled up in a ball in the foxhole, most likely he's not going anywhere. So you run a little bit closer and you yell louder, "Bob, come on, let's get out of here." Nothing. So you go right up to the foxhole and you put your hand in the foxhole and you say, "Bob, come on, let's go. We got to get out of here now." Still nothing. So finally, what do? You hop in the foxhole with him. You put your arm around him and you look at him and you say, "Bob, we're going now. Let's go." And you lift him up and you get him out of that foxhole and you run him to safety. That's what this is for me. That's my passion. And if we have that type of passion for what we're doing, then I think we quickly get over the concept of the ick factor of trying to sell something to somebody. This has nothing to do with selling and everything to do with being on a rescue and saving lives. And honestly, you really can't do that by spamming people or sending out volumes of invites. You have to find a way to personalize it. You have to get in the trench with them. You have to put your arm around them, and you have to lift them out and go with them on the journey. Get them to safety. So that's my mission, and that's what drives me. So question is, what is your mission? And remember it. So we have our goals and we keep them close by. We have the passion for what we're doing and we carry it with us. And we have our mission that drives us to go help other people. So who are you going to save today? Well, every day when we do our power hour, that ought to be the first question we think of. All right, so now we've talked about the clouds. Now we're going to go down and we're going to talk about the dirt. The dirt is, in the Beachbody business, it's our 4 vital behaviors. We have 4 now, by the way. It was 3 till this weekend, right? Our 4th one is recognize, right? Success club, adding value, practicing our trade until we're really good at it, and confident. And I think it's crucial that everybody understand that we're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. It's part of the process. And you can't get freaked out when you make a mistake. You can't get freaked out if you botch a call with somebody or if you do something to offend somebody else. And there's a lot of things that happen as we're learning this business. We tell somebody the wrong information about a product. We give them a wrong price. I mean, whatever it is, a lot of mistakes happen. And honestly, there's no possible way to get great at this business without making a lot of mistakes. I think the best coaches in this business have made more mistakes than the rest of us. And that's how they find success. You have to fail until you figure it out. That's how you learn. And it's really being in the trenches and it's working hard and learning from the process. So, we're really going to stay in those 2 areas. We're going to stay in the clouds and we're going to stay in the dirt. Another thing I really wanted to talk about, and so let me see where my slide is heading here. Okay, so practicing our trade. I don't even remember if I have a slide on that. And we're going to talk about it right now, first of all. I don't know if anybody listened to the call today or yesterday with Shay Sanford. She was a pharmaceutical rep before she became a Beachbody coach. And before that, she worked in the industry of mental health. And she is somewhat of an expert on Shakeology, which Jeff Hill pointed out today as he was introducing her. And I say today because I listened to the call this morning. But she has perfected the concept of asking open-ended questions to steer people towards where she wants them to go. And so you really need to listen to the call. I can't do justice to what she did, but those kind of things need to be practiced. And so how do we practice? I mean, I've tried role playing on a video presentation and usually ends up being kind of awkward, but you really do need to role play at home. I mean, role play with a spouse, a partner, a success partner, with your kids, with your best friend, whatever. But you need to practice. And it takes time to sort of get the right wording, and so that you're asking the right open-ended questions. Because ultimately what we're trying to do is have people recognize that they're not happy with where they are, and we try and get them to state where they really want to be. And we need to show them that we have the tools to bridge in between. It takes practice to be able to do that. Most of the time, I'm still in the process of saying way too much and asking way too few questions. It takes practice. All right. So, 4 vital behaviors. Okay. So, I've heard Carl Deichler talk about inviting before, and says the word really shouldn't even be around. It should be building relationships, not inviting, because it's sort of what we talked about already. There's no way that you can help people, and there's no way people will follow you unless you're building relationships and building trust with them and providing them with content and information and helping them to see who you are before they're going to follow you. Make friends and really lift up other people. Here's my slide where I was supposed to talk about practicing our conversations, and we already covered that. I think in this group, in this setting, it's, sort of preaching to the choir, but being a product of the product is crucial. You can't not be working out, not using Beachbody products, not using Shakeology, and share them. If you're concerned about the ick factor of selling, that's it right there. The hypocrisy of doing that is, to me, the biggest ick. We've got to be in it, all in. We've got to learn products. We have to understand them well enough to steer people to the right thing. Now, I'm not going to do size every day, but I've listened to it. I've done one. I understand it enough to be able to steer people that say, oh, well, I like Zumba. Well, I know where to go from there. I don't like lifting weights. I don't like push-ups and pull-ups. Okay, great. I've got something for you. But we have to learn them, and the only way to learn them is to really experience them. We've got to be a product of the product. All right, personal development. Now, realistically, personal development, how many people are really intentional about their personal development, which is really what you have to be in order to get your personal development every day. You have to have a plan. You have to have a method. My method is an iPod. I load my iPod. I've got over 30 books on there. I listen to the Dave Ramsey Entre Leadership podcast. I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk. I listen to all of my national calls through iTunes. And so when I go to work, I go to work between 5:30 and 6, and I plug my earbud in one ear, and I get to work, and I'm listening. But I carry my iPod with me everywhere I go, and I'm listening. And so if that's not your thing, fine. If you're in your car transporting kids or whatever, you ought to have your audiobooks in the car available. Got to have them. Got to be intentional about it, right? Got to happen. If it's a book at home during nap time or whatever it is, but make a plan. It's the only way it's going to happen. And if we don't, it's so hard to stay positive when all the bad stuff happens. And we'll talk more about that in just a second, but it's personal development that will help us to be the right kind of person that people need to see when they're looking for somebody to follow. Recognition. I was told at our Super Saturday event that I'm a rhino. There are 4 animal personality traits from one of the different personality analysis. The rhino is someone who just plows through everything and just gets it done. And it's hard for me to recognize people because I expect that they would do what I would do. And that's not proper, because that's not the way everybody else is. Some people might be like that. But recognition is now a part of the 4 vital behaviors, and it's something I'm going to have to work on, because I don't nearly recognize people as much as I should. Even in my day job at the grocery store, I don't compliment my employees when they do good things nearly enough. And it's a huge mistake. And it's something I really need to work on. So have systems in place where you can do that. But realistically, from day one, when you have a challenger that does a workout, they ought to be recognized. When they complete a program, they ought to be recognized. When your coach makes his first Facebook post, they ought to be recognized. And of course, when they hit Success Club, they should be recognized. When they hit some major events, they ought to be recognized. I think it's cool that Beachbody really does believe in recognition, and they have all different kind of things set up in order to recognize people. The Beachbody Challenge is a huge tool to recognize people. They submit their before and after, and they get something for it. And believe it or not, people will work ridiculously hard during a workout with a t-shirt in the back of their mind. I'm going to get a t-shirt. I'm earning a t-shirt. But it works, you know? And apparently it works for us to be motivated by a bobblehead in order to get Success Club. Rank advancement is recognition. And I really like the idea that Beachbody recognizes All-Star and Legend Success Club. Because I struggle, you know, as a lot of people do, to rank advance. And, you know, I'm doing my best. And I know it'll happen as I stick with it. But in the meantime, I hit my Success Club every month. And so I don't even know how many months Success Club I have now. 42 months? I think 42. But hey, I mean, now you get some of the perks that the premier and elite coaches get by being the first to sign up for trips, to be the first to choose your sessions at Summit and things like that. So, you know, that it's clearly part of what they do is recognize people, and we ought to be recognizing people as well. I think a lot of you are way better at that than I am already. Okay, so yeah, I already talked about a lot of the slides that I put up here. Got ahead of myself. Learning from mistakes. I know that every famous inventor that ever was had to fail hundreds and thousands of times in order to create a product. But it's crucial. Everyone has to fail. And it has to be okay. You have to be all right with it. You can't get upset. You can't let it bring you down. You lose your best coach. You lose your best challenger. It's going to happen. You have to be okay with it. And, you know, sometimes we make mistakes too, as far as what we're saying and how we're saying it. But it takes time, and we learn as we go along. And hopefully we don't make the same mistake again. But if you're recognizing that you made a mistake, writing it down, figuring out what the right way to do things is, then we can grow from it. So the clouds really keep us from quitting in this business. Our passions, our mission, the goals that we want. Everybody needs something. Everybody needs either time or money. And most people don't have both. And that's one of my big, big goals, is to have both. I'm working hard right now. And it's challenging because I try and share that this is the good life with people who don't work as hard as I do and have more free time than I have. And yet I'm working really, really hard. Why would they be attracted by what I'm doing? But I'm working hard right now so that I can have what they won't have later. And that is time and money. But those clouds, they drive me, and they keep me from ever struggling with the concept of quitting. When you have that attitude and you are consistently in the game, people will see it. They will see it. And if you invite somebody, right, and they say, no, not right now, and you stick with it, they'll come back. They will come back because everybody needs this. Everybody needs this. There are so few people out there that can live in our crazy, fast-paced world that have a solution that works, that isn't this solution, with an exercise system, with nutrition systems, and with accountability, support, motivation, and fitness tips. Nobody else has that, and everybody needs it. And if we stick with it, those people who say no will come back. They're coming back to me all the time. I got a phone call today while I was doing my workout from a guy who I have been inviting for 2 years. And he was purchasing his first challenge pack today. Okay, so now we've talked about the clouds and we've talked about the dirt, and the space in between is huge. The dirt is a small surface area. The clouds are up there out of reach, and there's a lot of space in between. That's where we've got to stay out of that space in between. That is anything that blocks your vision of the clouds, your goals, your passions, your dreams. It's all the wasted time and effort on things that don't matter. It's the discouragement, the negativity, the bumps in the road. I was going to, or at least I thought about, but I didn't do it, play a YouTube video from a guy named Kid President. I don't know if you've ever heard of Kid President before, but it's a podcast that was created by Dwight from The Office. I can't remember his name in real life. But he has a kid on there that's called Kid President. And he has Kid President do all kinds of YouTube videos. And he does one about the road less traveled and how uncomfortable it is. And the little kid says, and it hurts, man. Sometimes it does. It hurts. But if we keep our eyes on the cloud, if we keep our eyes on our goals, if we keep our eyes on our passion, you don't even feel it. You get right through it. Don't let those things keep you from staying in the dirt and getting your work done. We were on a cruise. Actually, last year we were on a Beachbody trip in Cancun, and Brandy bought everybody in TKO an opportunity to be on a catamaran. It was a huge boat. And so the whole team was on there, and she paid for the whole thing. We sailed it out to an island and then just hung out, played music, and had a good time. On the way back, she gave a speech, and in her speech, it was pretty short and to the point. Do your stuff. Do your stuff. Just do your stuff. So for years and years, I mean, maybe the first 2 years that I was in this business, she would always tell me, add value, just add value. And I didn't really understand what she was talking about. I didn't know what adding value was. I'm here, I'll go help somebody, but I didn't know how to provide content. I didn't know how to get my message out. And so for me, my forum that I'm the most comfortable with is making videos. Rather than some people, it would be a blog. And by the way, top coach, Melanie Mitro, the way she provides content is through a blog. When she first started in this business, she blogged every single day for 6 months before she got her first sale from her blog. Every day for 6 months. But she kept going. She stuck with it. She kept going. Nothing stopped her. And you talk about the opportunity to just get into that space in between after a month or 2 months. How about after 4 or 5 months of creating content every day and nothing happened? I don't know about you guys, but I would have quit. I would absolutely quit if I did not get anything and I did it every day for that long. But look at her. Top coach in the business. Why? She has that drive, and she sees the cloud. And she didn't play in that space. She didn't get discouraged. And by the way, I think one of the things that is discouraging sometimes is the politics, or how about calling customer service about an issue? That can really get you down. You work so hard, and then something happens and it gets messed up, and customer service is annoying, and you're on hold for 20 minutes, and then they come on and barely speak English, and they can't help you, and then you start getting mad, and finally you say, I want to talk to your supervisor, and then you're on hold for another 20 minutes, and then the supervisor comes on, and it all gets resolved. But it's one of those things that can really get you down if you let it. You can't let it get you there. Let's see here. I think I'm done. So let me just conclude. When I was about 2 years into the business, I sort of stalled out. I'd been having consistent success. And then it was August of 2014, and it's kind of a challenging month anyway, and I was stuck. So I reached out to Brandy Botts, who's my upline, and I asked her, I said, I don't know what to do. I'm trying everything I can, and reality is I haven't built a huge social media platform. I don't post in Facebook consistently. I do a lot of face-to-face business. I had run out of my warm market, and I was stuck, and I didn't really know where to go or what to do about it. So we talked about it for a while, and I remember that I had been at a leadership event in Dana Point right after I became a coach. Brandy invited me to go, and I get to meet all of these rock star coaches. And let me just say that being around those people really drives me. The ability to have that level of influence with other people and the numbers of people that they've helped is just astonishing. And it's taken them a long time and a lot of personal development and a lot of mindset in order to get there. I know Scotty Hobbs said he has read Think and Grow Rich like 50 times. Who would read that book 50 times? But he needed it. So, any rate, I met a guy named Mark Cannella. I don't know if you know who Mark Cannella is, but he lives in Las Vegas, and I really connected with him at that leadership event. And so Brandon and I were talking, and she said, why don't we do a call, the three of us, with Mark? And I said, awesome. Let me talk to Mark, and let's see what thoughts he has about this. So we got together, and Mark shared that his passion for Beachbody comes because his son, who was a teenager at the time, was morbidly obese. And he was able to help his son change his life with Beachbody's products, with P90X and Shakeology. And the fact that he was able to save his son's life and change it in such a drastic way is a passion that he wears on his sleeve every day. And he looked at me and he said, look, Tom, you have to have that passion. Think about what this business did for you, how your life changed, how you went from hopeless to healthy in your 50s. And you wear that passion on your sleeve every day. And if every time you talk to somebody, you have that passion, it will drive you to the next level. And it totally pumped me up, and it changed my business. And so that's why when we talk about clouds and dirt and staying out of the space in the middle, it's that cloud, it's that passion that drives me, that drives this business. So I hope it was helpful for me to talk with you guys tonight. I hope there's some nugget, something that you got out of it. But anyway, that's the clouds and the dirt.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was so awesome. And I especially love the analogy about the rescue mission. I think it really relates to us so well, because we'll put a post out and we'll say, let me know if you need help. Well, the people who really, really need help are not going to just crawl out of their hole and come find you. And so it really takes that friendship and building relationships for you to be able to help them pull themselves out of that hole, and being that special person that someone out there needs from you every day. So thank you. Especially that part really, really struck me and hit me and kind of reminded me that we all have a really distinct mission.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so true too. I don't know how many people are out there going, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
Come get me. I need something. Every once in a while, but for the most part, people that are struggling tend to isolate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty hard to reach them by dangling an invite over their head, right? So yeah, that's pretty important principle to understand about people when you invite them. A lot of times we get crickets when we invite, but that's the state a lot of people are in, is they really need help, but that's not the best way in order to get them in the heart. Mm-hmm. Is, ultimately it's going to be their heart and their head that's going to drive them out of it, and you got to get there with them, walk them through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like, who is it that's on National Wake Up Call? It's the guy that talks, that does the intros.
Sandy or Jeff Hill?
Jeff Hill. He's been saying that every week. Stop posting. Stop worrying about your posts and message people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's really been hitting home for me too, because I'm so about the post and perfecting it and making it, and really it's about that relationship that you're building behind the scenes and getting into people's lives.
Very rarely do I ever have anybody come to me after I do I broadcast out that I'm going to do a challenge, and anybody that wants to come join me, come in. I get nothing from that. It's all personal and connecting with people on a totally different level.
So why don't you take us off screen share and we can see everyone's boxes, and we have 5 minutes if anyone has any questions, or if anyone wants to just say something that stuck out to you, or if we could help you solve a problem in your business or something, now would be the perfect time. I love being able to see everyone.
Where did you get the clouds and dirt analogy? Did you make that up?
It came from Gary Vaynerchuk. You can look him up on YouTube, and the clip that I found on YouTube about clouds and dirt is a little bit different analogy. But in his book, Ask Gary V, he talks more about what clouds and dirt are and how clouds are your passion and your dirt is the work. And he talks a lot about staying out of the space in between.
That's so
all
good.
of the garbage that doesn't get you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty excited because he is speaking at our event, and so I look forward to that.
Nice.
Yeah, Rob's going too, right, Rob?
Take it off of mute. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. Just some good stuff there.
Are you getting some value out of that Facebook group?
Yeah, those guys, man, those top coaches are just, they have so many nuggets in there.
Yeah, right. You know who really drives me more than anybody else in there is Chris Reed. He just puts it out just blunt. And
right.
His style isn't going to work for people that are sensitive.
No.
You know? But for me, he says, what are you guys doing? We only got 5 days left. If you haven't got Success Club yet, do you want to run a business or not? Let's go. You know? And I'm like, okay, I'm going. I'm going to do it, Chris.
I want to be in that group. Can I add my husband?
Yeah, but he's got to buy a ticket to the event.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But yeah,
I like
it
being
is.
yelled at.
It's the most powerful group I've ever been in. I've learned more just in there about how men run the business, and it's awesome.
It's a good group.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Last call. Questions, comments, insights? All right. Let's do a picture. Let me see if I can find my print screen button. Okay, look alive, everyone.
You can see my face now.
Go. All right, should we do a silly face like last time? It's not crazy. Oh, I love it. I think that my second print screen that I just did replaced the first one, though. So we're going with the silly face. I don't know how to save them both, so we're silly tonight. Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome. Awesome. All right, everybody, do your stuff.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.